welcome to No Budget. This is a little impromptu interview with Karni Haneman, a filmmaker, actress, and anything else? Do you do anything else? Writer, director, whatever. So apologies for the sound. This is pretty much just camera sitting on a bunch of boxes. Alright, so your film is called Fuck You, Jessica Blair.
Yes.
I think first most important question that you get all the time is where'd the name come from?
Honestly started as a joke. It makes sense, the movie, but it was sort of, we needed a working title because everything else was sort of ready. Everything else was sort of ready, and we needed to get the production going, and you need a working title just even to print it and start, sending it, and and then we couldn't find anything, and it sort of started as a joke between me and Jessie, the lead actress, and then it was the working title through the whole process, and then when we got to the point where we actually needed a title, and we tried to change it, but nothing else felt right, so we kept coming back to that one, like, what if we do this, and then it kept coming back, and eventually it was just like, are we going with this, and yeah, we just have to say it, and we did.
And she's okay with it?
Yeah, it's not actually, it's just a joke kind of that went too far, nice. I guess. Like this entire movie, it's a joke that went too far.
The film itself is interesting because you're an Israeli filmmaker, and the film has nothing to do with conflict with Israel and Palestine. It has nothing to do with like a lot of typical Israeli-themed films.
So it's for 30-ish year olds sort of going through their own crises with identity. Some of it is sort of about their nationality, being Israeli. Some of it's sort of a bit sexual orientation, age, turning 30. And I think that's the majority of Israel that I know from me and my friends. Not just Israel. And one of the actresses, it's important to say she is American, Jessie, and two Israeli men and myself. And I think the fact that it sort of plays that boundaries between there is the American that is in Israel as well, and sort of the way that she perceives this three of us, it sort of gives it another point of view, because it's not just Israeli, but it's also, as I've been told, it's also a very indie American film by vibe, and you have an indie American in it, and it's sort of, actress, and I think it just shows a bit of a different thing, and I think that's something that's very getting more and more common with Israeli cinema, and I think just what happens is that most people around my age, the 30-year-olds at this point in Israel, we got tired of being told that we can't do something else. Like, we got tired of being told this is the fun thing, this is the things they want to see in the world from you. And there's just the past, I would say, 5 years, there's this sort of growth of genre cinema in Israel, of just indie cinema, and we're just trying to show, all right, we can do other things, and the majority of the time we don't all just sit around and do whatever you guys imagine that happens. As I've heard people describe it, they were shocked that I don't just ride camels all day, or
Yeah, well, that was an interesting thing that I got out of it, is when I watched it, is how scenic things, there's trees and grass, like, it's not just all desert, like, kind of what
not just tents and desert, and there's
yeah,
I mean, crazy. I knew it because I grew up there. Apparently a lot of people outside didn't know that.
Yeah. Where did you find your cinematographer? Because there's some beautiful shots in the film. I think I mentioned this before, like that there's towards the beginning, this scene on the bridge with one of the characters in the background on the bicycle, and it's just, there's a couple really lovely shots in it.
Well, the cinematographer is Matthias Zagoni, and he's a good friend of a friend of mine, and my friend sort of introduced us because he just knew that we would get along. We were both like Israeli Hungarians, and we have the same taste in movies, and he was looking to shoot his first film as a cinematographer because he mainly did assistant, and I was looking to do my first feature as a director, and we just kind of got introduced. I sent him the script, he loved it, and then we met up, and it was just this sort of immediate connection. We were like, we see everything exactly in the same way, and then we sat for a few good months and just sort of worked on the shooting because it's a low budget, very low budget film, and we knew that we were gonna have to sort of make it work with just 10 days of shooting and this minimum budget, and we sat I think for 3 months and just planned the shooting so carefully that nothing can go wrong. And Matthias is a brilliant cinematographer, and he has an incredible eye, and I knew it was an amazing thing to have, because I also knew that I have to act and direct, and I needed the person behind camera to be someone that I don't need to worry about this, I can just go and do it, and I'll know that it's gonna be perfect if I'm there or not. And And then that's what it was exactly. Like, he did a brilliant job, and I couldn't have asked for a better person to work with on this.
That's great. How did you find acting and directing at the same time?
Not something I'd want to do soon enough again, because I've acted a lot, and I've like in the university and in high school in short films, and I've directed and wrote most of the shorts, and then I've never did both of them. I don't know that doing both at the first time together in a feature independently was the best choice I could have gone with. But I also thought that I was that's something I will have to do for this specific script, so I ended up just doing it, and I got just like Matthias to do it, an assistant director that I trusted, who was a good friend, and I just had enough people surrounding me to sort of tell me when something's not working, and you have to just be I would say very open to listening to something that's not working, because it's very difficult, and if you're a director and you have your vision, it's very easy to have that, but then if you're acting as well, you have to sort of be very open to criticism, because if something's not working and you think that as an actor it might work, but you're not there to see it as a director, you have to be very open-minded to learn.
Jessie is American. How'd you find her, and then why shoot it in Israel?
Well, I met Jessie in acting. We were studying in London at the time, and we worked together a lot. And I knew that I wanted to work with her. I thought she was insanely talented, and I really wanted to work with her. And then I sort of had people that I knew. I had a BFA in filmmaking in Israel, so I had a better way to get like a networking and crew going on in Israel. But then I was trying to find a way that I can shoot a movie in Israel where I have the people that can help me in the crew, but yet combine it with an actress that I wanted to work with that doesn't speak Hebrew. So it would have to have like a really good justification to be in an Israeli film, and yet to have half of it in English and sort of. So I kind of managed something that I thought would be very genuine to our characters, and then we had to rehearse from afar because Jessie was in the States at the time, and then get her to know the actress from afar and everything. And the weird thing is because we are in Ireland now, I've lived here for 2 years, and I was sort of working on the post-production and some of it when I was here. Like before I got to the post, all the video editing itself and a lot of the offline I did here actually. And the really weird thing is that now a lot of people think the film was shot in Ireland, even though it's not. It was shot in Israel, but it's a lot of green nature, open natures, and whenever people see it, they're like, oh, but you live in Ireland, you shot it there. And it's like, no, actually Israel has some places, like, I'm not...
There is green stuff in Israel.
It doesn't have to be Ireland, we have those places. I mean,
yeah.
So it's kind of funny that just randomly happened.
Right. And then, so you're currently doing the festival circuit with it right now, right?
Yeah, so...
All right, we'll get to that in the second part of the interview. And take a break.
We came here because I was freaking out.
About what?
The world ending.
The world is ending?
You know what your problem is? Yes. You're supposed to say no.
אתה יודע כמה זה מעייף לשנוא את עצמך?
לא.
All right, that was a preview of Fuck You, Jessica Blair. So, last question of the film, what was the budget, and kind of how did that kind of divvy out amongst the making of the film?
I think it was sort of somewhere along the lines of $20,000, $25,000 dollars, so it's not a lot. And that was the budget that I took into consideration in advance. And then we went with it, and we just started. I actually went into a few meetings with just experienced producers and experienced another Israeli indie filmmaker, and just I just contact them and we're like, will you sit with me for an hour just to sort of get the budget ready to see if there's anything I'm not aware of and things like that. And I think I've learned there's a lot of things I wasn't aware of.
Yeah. So
there's things you don't necessarily think of. Yeah, so I think the decision we made to begin with, and that was something I was very honest about with everyone that took part in the film, was like, listen, we don't have a lot of money. If you like the script, do it. If you're only doing it for money, don't do it, because I just wanted people that actually believe in the script and see it as a passion project rather than money, because it was pretty obvious I'm not doing this for money. I'm doing this because we all believe in it and want to do it. This is the budget we have to make it look the best that we can, which I think we've succeeded. The main goal was just like get the technical bit first of all to be perfected as much as we can. It was 10 shooting days. This is the best we do with it. This is how we get this camera. This is how we get this sound, and to have no problems in the technical area. And I think we've succeeded. And I think the way to do that was just get the right people to believe in it. And when you try to make an indie film in general, I think that would be the best thing I can recommend to someone. You would find a lot of people, if they connect to the script and if they connect to you, they would go above and beyond to things you didn't expect. If you manage to do that and get like the right people on board with the right project that kind of see it in the same way, and then you would learn how to work your budget in the best sort of way. And
Okay. Let's talk about film festivals, because you premiered it at the New York
at the Winter
Festival.
Film Awards in New York.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's been in a few festivals in Israel. And you're just you're going through that experience of submitting to film festivals. And I've talked about this on the show a few times, whether film festivals are even worth submitting films to. Tell me a little bit about what was your decision making and what festivals to submit it to, and kind of what you've gotten out of the festivals that you've been in so far.
I think I've learned, this is one of the things I've learned, this whole thing is a learning process when you make your first indie feature, but I think the main thing I've learned like in the festival aspect is that, first of all, the best thing you can do, the second that your film is ready, what you do, the automatic thing that you do is like, okay, you start submitting to festivals and you sit and wait. Don't do that. That makes you crazy. Regardless of anything that happens, that makes you crazy. And I didn't listen at the time. My friend told me that. My friend who's a director, he told me, you're done with the film, it's finalized, start sending it, go on, write your next one. That's it. It doesn't matter. So the first thing you have to do is never look at it as if this is done, I created this masterpiece and now it's going to go everywhere and do this. It's like, you need to put your expectations to what you did, which is sort of what I was trying to do. So I knew that I was making an indie film, and I knew to begin with my goal was not to get into the best, like the biggest distributor or anything. My goal to begin with was like, I did this film because I wanted to do this film for myself, and even if it doesn't get into any place, I did it because I wanted to do it, and worst case, I'll learn from it, I'll go on, make the second one. There are so many film festivals, and so many of them are not necessarily going to be right for your film and vice versa, and it's fine. So my film, it's an indie film, but it's an American indie film, but not in English. But at the same time, it's not an Israeli film. It is, and it's not in the same way, because it has this American vibe, but it is Israeli in a lot of ways, and a lot of the jokes and the vibe. And it's a little bit LGBT and a little bit not, so there's a lot of like little things, and it's not this one clear genre from beginning to end that you can say. So you have to understand it doesn't, like, I knew it's not going to be for everyone, and you have to find whoever it was. And then the New York Festival was the first one to accept me, and that was a festival that really, I felt, even being there, and I saw a lot of other films, and I really enjoyed the experience of getting to watch other people's films. So everyone that was there is the exactly indie film, quirky, weird humor, film lovers. I think if you set your goal, because I assume that most of the viewers would be indie filmmakers with low budgets, set your goals to be real, because my goal eventually is to get as many people to be the right audience for it. In New York and in Israel, TLV Fest and Cinema South Fest, it was both. I felt this is the right audience for this, and then you kind of pick up the your own audience, and
so you kind of learn which are the right film festivals for your particular film. Yeah. Did you find during festivals kind of the networking aspect or just kind of meeting other filmmakers beneficial?
I think I didn't see it that way. Like, I met a lot of really great filmmakers, but I think this is kind of it. You meet the people that are right for you. So in New York, I met a few in TLV and in Cinema South, and you always kind of meet the people that are right for you and you bond with them, but then at the same time, it's never... I don't know, maybe it's my naive perception, but when I go to festivals, it's like, oh cool, I get to show my film to an audience and watch other people's film. I would go to all the other ones as much as I can and just spend like every day. And kind of, and I've seen a lot of great films, and then I, wanted to talk to those directors. So I think it's more, if you go and you do it in the right, like, the films that I really, really love, then these are the directors that obviously I wanted to talk to, or the actors, and it's sort of finding each other, and vice versa. The ones that like mine came to talk to me after, and it's...
With the film festivals, because you did submit some to where it didn't get in.
It's fine. Like, it's obvious that the competition is insanely difficult and insanely competitive, and you kind of have to learn within that. I would say... I mean, it's difficult to say it because you don't have a lot of budget. Take on the account a big budget, send it to everywhere on your first round, and then learn which ones have liked your
Which
style
ones
and
watched it versus which ones potentially didn't watch it. Versus
and which ones liked it and wanted to watch more, or watch the whole of it twice or 3 times, and even if it didn't get in, you knew they kind of like it. And some of them also send me really nice rejection emails. Like I got a couple of really nice rejection emails that you can tell that they really liked it, and they were also referring to like other places I've been, but just it didn't work out at the end. And you can tell there's a lot of, I think you have to remember there's a lot of things that are not about you and your film per se. It could be a lot of things you're not aware of. Maybe there's another really, really good film from, your country, and they only have certain places they can put that in, or the same genre from another country.
Similar film, but they kind of went with this one instead of that one.
And I think it's completely valid, but you have to remember, and I saw that in the festivals that I was in, the indie festivals, that you have to remember you work hard and you really, but at the same time I was amazed in a good way of how many good indie films were in that festival, and I was like, okay, so and these are the top ones that were picked, but there could have been 50 more that were amazing, but along the lines of what they picked. And you never know, so never take it personally, and just kind of get the idea of what you need to get from it, of okay, who was the right festivals for you, which ones maybe didn't work for you, and just next time plan your budget well.
With that, we will call this interview to an end. Be sure to subscribe to No Budget on YouTube because, well, it's the best show. We interview the best filmmakers.
Thank you for having me, and the best interviewer.
And absolutely. I mean, that's
obviously. Man, it's hot. Fucking seagulls are gonna be all over this.
Oh, I know, this is gonna sound terrible. I need some kind of explosion to scare them off.
I forgot about Irish seagulls. Irish seagulls being a thing. We're shooting here, guys.
Goddamn birds.
Give us a minute.